long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, they all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother who risks her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment, whether standing or walking, sitting, lying down or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desire for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. Now, friends, let us continue our meditation. As we mentioned in the past, we don't need any more instructions. We just meditate. Okay? By means of this meritorious deed, may I never join with the foolish, may I join always with the wise, until the time I attain Nibbana. May the suffering be free from suffering, may the fear-struck be free from fear, may the grieving be free from grief, so too may all beings be. From the highest realm of existence to the lowest, may all beings function in these realms, with form and without form, with perception and without perception, be released from all suffering and attain to perfect peace. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, friends, we want to continue our talk on Bojjhanga. Last week we spoke on Samadhi, concentration, factor of enlightenment. Concentration factor, in order to become a factor of enlightenment, we have to do it more diligently with full understanding. We mentioned when our hindrances are overcome, we mind become relaxed and peaceful. Buddha compared that state of mind to certain similes. He used certain similes to make the meaning clear. When one has greed in any form, whether it is very mild form or gross form or medial form, the mind does not concentrate. It goes here and there. So it needs relaxed state. Suppose somebody has borrowed money for a business and invest that money on business. And this business, assuming, becomes successful. And then he would be able to support his family and will have some left over for the future investment, and still he has more. Then he remembers his debt, then he pays his debt. Now his business is successful, family is in good condition, and he also has enough money to save for the future, and from that he pays his debt. He has left over sufficient amount to pay his debt. Then he is very happy, very glad that he is no more indebted to anybody. Now he is free from debts. That is a very comfortable, relaxing state of mind. So that is compared to paying the desire is like paying off all the debts. And then suppose somebody is sick, and as you all know, when one is sick, that individual does not taste food, nor does the person can have a good attitude, conversation with people. His mind is obsessed with anger, with this sickness. His taste bud doesn't work properly. Similarly, when one is full of anger, greed, hatred, resentment, the person does not feel comfortable. Nothing can he appreciate, nor does he feel healthy. Rather, he is temporarily depressed, and he may be grieving that he is sick. Somehow he gets cured from all his sickness symptoms. That time, that individual feels very comfortable. Food is tasty, digestion is good. He can talk to people, associate with people with good attitude. Buddha says that is like getting rid of anger. Then Buddha said, we just remember while we are talking, listening, we have to visualize this particular state. In our mind we must imagine that we are in that person's shoes. Suppose somebody is in a jail, he is not free to do what he wants. He is very closely guarded by the guards, prison guards, and then he feels very uncomfortable. He cannot watch his movies, cannot go to parties, cannot have freedom to associate with his family members. Even family members are allowed to see him from distance, and a lot of restrictions, lot of rules and regulations he has to follow. And he cannot see what is going on outside the prison walls. That is like sleepiness and drowsiness. As we all know, even while listening to this talk, if you fall asleep, you miss the message in this talk. You are trying to read something when you are sleepy, nothing can go to your mind, and so on. When you are out of your sleepiness, if you are awake, then everything that's going on around you can understand, you can see, you can remember. So being in a sleepy and drowsy state compares to being in a jail. Coming out of sleepiness and drowsiness is just like coming out of jail. Then restlessness and worry compares to being slavery. If you are a slave of somebody or something, there are all kinds of slaveries. You are slave to gambling, slave to drinking, and slave to drugs, and so on. You are a slave. You are always restless as a slave. You are a slave to people, slave to drugs, drinks, gambling, even sex. You are a slave. Then you are not free. Once you are free from that slavery, you are no longer an alcoholic, no longer drug addicts, no longer gambling addicts, and so forth. Then you feel tremendous pleasure, happiness, because you are free from that slavery. That is like being restless and worry. Then when you are lost in a desert where there are no roads, no directions, no one, no guide to show you your way to get out of the desert. When you are full of doubt, that is like being in a desert. When you have doubt, you really don't know where to start, what to follow, how to undertake, what to undertake, and so on. So you are free from such confused state of mind. Then, now assume that you are free from debts, free from sickness, free from jail, free from being slave, free from doubt. Now, at that state, the mind is very relaxed, calm and peaceful. That is the state of mind one requires to gain concentration, because when the mind is calm, relaxed and peaceful, no anger, no hatred and so on, you can gain quiet, peaceful mental state and gain concentration. I mentioned this concentration also has two aspects. One is mundane concentration, other is supramundane concentration. Mundane concentration is based on desire, based on merits. Belongs to it. Concentration is a meritorious mental state, wholesome mental state. And then ripening in acquisition. That is, you want to gain something from this concentration, like gaining supernatural powers, supernormal powers, and being born in Brahma realms, higher state of existence. So these are the end results of mundane concentration. Supramundane concentration is the concentration that ends in liberation, total liberation. How is that? That is the concentration begin with viveka, viraga, nirodha, patinisagga, abandoning, viveka nisitang, viraga nisitang, nirodha nisitang, cessation, and vasagga parinaming. This is the mental state that arises in the noble person's mind, one who is in following the noble path. Noble path in the supramundane level, from Sotapanna onward. In that person's mind, concentration arises. That concentration does not have any other ulterior motive other than total liberation from samsaric suffering. In that concentrated mind, there is no expectation to be born in Brahma realms or to gain supernatural powers. But that mind has pure, clean motive to be liberated from all samsaric suffering. And that is the concentration through which one sees the noble, Four Noble Truths more clearly and deeply. Without realizing Four Noble Truths, one cannot liberate oneself totally, completely from samsaric suffering. That is the benefit of gaining supramundane concentration. Mundane concentration also has two aspects. That is, one is called Rupa Jhana, other is Arupa, incorrectly we call Jhana, but for now let me clarify these two terms. Mundane Jhana means Rupa Jhana. Rupa Jhana means your concentration is based on something material, like the breathing, the body, factors of various factors of parts of the body and so forth. All these are subjects of meditation, even to gain concentration. That attainment called Rupa Jhana. Rupa Jhana is called in Pali Ditta Dhamma Sukha Vihara. Living happily in this life. Ditta Dhamma Sukha Vihara. Living happily in this life. And there is another mundane attainment that is called Santa Vimokha, peaceful liberation. Santa is peaceful, Vimokha liberation. Peaceful liberation. Peaceful liberation has 4 steps, just like living happily in this very life has 4 steps. They don't have names, they are 1, 2, 3, 4 jhanas, first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. And then other 4 peaceful liberation also has 4, they have names. That is based on infinite space. Infinite space is not something material, based on infinite space. Infinite space, one gains concentration, and then the person's all material, his mind does not hold on to anything material. No material contact, and forget about all material body, everything material. but the mind is lodged in space. The space also is created in the mind, and that space is not finite, it is infinite. And then the second is called infinite consciousness or infinite perception. Vijnana. Vijnana is actually consciousness, infinite consciousness. That consciousness is not based on anything material, but pure consciousness. It has no limit, no boundaries, and therefore it is called infinite consciousness. When that becomes even finer, one feels as if there is nothing. Its nothingness is the finest state of consciousness. When one stays in that state, then the person perceives this consciousness as consciousness itself is infinite. A perception is so subtle, the person does not know whether it is existing or not. That kind of state. We can use these words to explain these things, these states, but until one experiences these states, one cannot grasp the depth of this, the meaning of these words. That is called neither perception nor non-perception. Now, in the discourses, when one attains the first mundane or material attainment, there are 5 factors existing and 5 factors disappeared. 5 factors disappeared are 5 hindrances. 5 existing factors are initial thought, sustained thought, joy, happiness, and concentration. Now, what is initial thought? Initial thought, they are called vitakka, in Pali vitakka. Vitakka is a thought. It is sometimes called sankappa, pakappa. Like that, there are certain words in Pali, synonyms for thoughts. What kind of thoughts are they? They are the thoughts of letting go, nekkhamma sankappa. Thought of non-hatred, avyapada sankappa. Thought of compassion, avihingsa sankappa. We can say nekkhamma vitakka, avyapada vitakka, avihingsa vitakka. So the word vitakka is used for thoughts. When one attains the first jhana, the mind already has given up desire, hatred, sleepiness and drowsiness, restlessness and worry and doubt. And therefore, the mind does not let them come back to the mind. That is, they are abandoning, letting go. That is called nekkhamma sankappa, vitakka. The thought of letting go. For that one need effort. one needs mindfulness, one needs understanding. When these three factors are working together, the meditator can hold on to the mental jhanic state and let go of hindrances. Previously, the person worked hard to get rid of them. Now the person now the person does not let them arise again. And instead the person has the thought of letting go, renunciation, real renunciation. And then non-hatred means metta. We mentioned metta practice is a stepping stone to gaining concentration. In the metta, there is no one particular being or person, mother, father, brother, sister, husband, wife, children, and so on. No such concepts. It is pure mental state of well-being of living being, all living beings. In that state there is no person, no face, all just breathing beings existing all over the world. That's a very wonderful mental state that you experience in the first jhana. Then the thought of cruelty does not arise in the mind. When you have metta, how can you have the thought of cruelty? And therefore these three mental states are there. Vitakka, vichara. Vitakka, what is vitakka? Letting go, metta and compassion. What is vichara? Vichara means sustaining these thoughts, maintaining these thoughts, keeping alive these thoughts, repeating these thoughts. No person does not allow the other thoughts to enter the mind, keeping these thoughts. Then, therefore, when one is able to keep these thoughts in mind, piti, joy arose even before attaining jhana, and that helps to gain happiness. When one gains happiness, one gains concentration. Now that joy is working even more subtly, more powerfully in the state of mind. That's called piti. Piti. Then sukha, even higher state of mind at that time, is happiness. That is why it is called ditta dhamma sukha. Live happily in this life. Plus concentration. That concentration is not very strong. Just imagine, with all these things you have concentration, but I say that concentration is not very strong concentration. Don't think that at that time you don't hear, you don't feel, you don't have anything, you become like a vegetable. It doesn't happen that way. At that time, everything is so calm, relaxed and in the state of balanced state. So these are the qualities of the first attainment, first Rupa Jhana. I hope you remember these things, and when you sit to meditate, don't verbalize all this. Let them happen very naturally. They happen very naturally in your mind. But you can recognize them. You can recognize them, and the more you recognize, the stronger your jhanic experience is. So that is how you are able to stay in that state for a certain period of time without moving, without changing, but experiencing all this. Any tiny little pin drop silence, you may not be bothered. If it is raining, you may hear the rain, but that rain drops does not disturb your concentration. But you can hear that. When a bird is chirping, you can hear it, but it doesn't bother you at all. All you experience at that time is physical and mental vibration. Physical and mental vibration. Sort of electric impulses you feel in your body and mind. Very powerful mental state. And then I don't have much time to elaborate this. I will continue these talks on Jhana because there are more things to say on Jhana. Remember what I said today. Next time will be next week. Tomorrow we cannot have questions and answers because tomorrow we have Katina celebration, and I will be busy with that from morning till late afternoon, and therefore tomorrow we will not have questions and answers. Now, friends, I like to end this by my regular wish. May all who are suffering in hospitals, suffering from various diseases, may they all be free from those diseases and return to regular life, continue their Dhamma practice, liberate from samsaric suffering. And those doctors, nurses, hospital staffs who dedicate their life, devote their time, sacrifice their comfort, risk their own life to take care of these patients, may they continue their wonderful service and let them also be free from samsaric suffering and attain Nibbana. May those who have lost their loved ones, who have been grieving, may they be free from grief and continue their Dhamma practice and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. May all others who are directly or indirectly supporting these various institutes, hospitals, orphanages, countries, and also those who are in trouble spots created by humans or caused by natural means, may they all be free from their very unfortunate situations and find peace and happiness and liberate from samsaric suffering. Then finally I want to wish all of the people or all living beings, irrespective of any distinction and differentiation, May they all be free from suffering. May they live in peace, happiness, finally find everlasting peace and attain Nibbana. Thank you.
Buddha
Thank you,
Saranai. Thank you,
Bhante.
Hadri.
Sarvan
Thank you,
Saranai.
Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Everyone
Bhante,
Thank you, Bhante.
sadhu, sadhu,
Thank you,
sadhu,
Bhante.
sadhu,
Jai
sadhu.
Bhante.
Thank you,
Sadhu,
Bhante.
sadhu,
Thank you,
sadhu.
Bhante.
Long life and
Thank you, Bhante.
goodness.
Thank
Sirvan
you,
Thank you,
Saranai.
Bhante.
Bhante.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
Nice Samilan, sir.
Everyone Saranai.
Bhante, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Everyone Saranai.
Sirvan Saranai.